Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm really excited to be showing you 2 different DIYs that I made this last week for our future home. If you don't know this, we are fixing up a cabin that we'll be moving into hopefully by the end of January. And so I just had a couple things in mind that I wanted to create for it. The first was a rustic farmhouse ladder to use for hanging blankets on and just using as a decoration and a focal point in our living room. The second was just some crates that I wanted to use as organizational spots in my daughter's bedroom. Alright, so getting started with the rustic farmhouse ladder, I went out to our woodshed, found this rough piece of really wide wood that actually came from an old barn or garage or something, and I ended up cutting it into 3 equal sized pieces and used the 2 end pieces for the actual ladder. These really neat boards actually came from the mountains in Idaho. My husband and I found them while we were up hiking, and so they have this really cool story behind them. So I decided I wanted to make my ladder about 20 inches wide. So I ended up cutting these 2x4s at 18 inches, and I decided that I wanted to do 4 steps. So just decide however many you like. Now looking back though, taking into consideration how small our living room was going to be, I wish I would have made the ladder a little bit narrower. So just keep that in mind. The fun thing about how simple this ladder is that you can make it so versatile and you can design it exactly how you like. So I just decided how far apart I wanted each of the steps to be and calculated that in before I screwed in the 2x4. And then make sure you use a tape measure to mark on both sides of your 2 main beams where the steps need to be in order to make it equal on both sides. Now, because my 2 main beams were actually cut from one wider piece of wood, I ended up having these really raw, fresh looking edges that just didn't tie in with the rest of the really rustic looking ladder. And originally I thought, well, I'll just lean that side up against the wall. But then I ended up finding this ebony stain that matched so perfectly to the rustic color in the more worn part of the wood that I ended up staining those raw edges, and it tied it all together and made it look really antique, really farmhousey, and I just love the way that it turned out when it was finished. So maybe you really like the look of like an antique rustic ladder, but you don't have the property, you don't have the right buildings to get that wood, or you don't know anyone that does. You can still make really rusticy, antique looking wood just by using like a dark stain, or by roughing up your wood by hitting it with chains, hitting it with hammers, hitting it with nails. It's so easy to create antique looking wood, and you don't necessarily have to harvest it off of an old barn in order to have that look. So I saw this picture of this crate off of Pinterest, and I was like, I can do that. You guys, in case you're wondering, I am by no means a carpenter, and this is a totally new skill I'm trying to figure out. Ask my husband, who has to work with me on our house basically every day, and you will learn that I am quite new to this arena.
Oh yeah.
And yet, the little bit that I've done over the past couple of years has just really encouraged me, and so I just want to say, if I can build these crates, you can build these crates. So today I thought I'd tell you how to build the larger of the 2 crates, simply because this is more the size of one you might find off of Amazon, or you'd find probably inside Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It is 17 inches long by 12 inches wide, and then it's 10.5 inches deep. So it'll hold a good amount of books, toys, whatever you want to store in this. So for this size of crate, you are going to need 12 1x3s cut to 1 foot in length. Next, you're going to need 6 1x3s cut to 15 inches in length. And lastly, you're going to need 4 1x1s cut to 10 inches in length. And this is going to be the height of the inside of your crate. After cutting these pieces of wood, the next thing that you're going to want to do is probably stain the wood depending on the look that you want. If you want a really fresh new look and you have new wood that you've just bought from Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever you got it from, then you can just leave it how it is, or you can find a stain that you really like. For me, I use the ebony stain again. I really like it. It's a super dark stain and it really adds a rustic look. Or you could totally paint this wood and sand it down and give it a shabby chic look. Do whatever you like. Also, I really want to emphasize, these are just guidelines. These are just ideas. I'm just hoping if you're new to this like I am, that maybe I'll save you from making some of the mistakes that I did. So find your own size wood, sketch out your own size of crate that you want to do. You guys, this is pretty simple, and I was really happy with actually how easy it turned out to be to build one of these. So do whatever you want, make it look however you want it to look. So the very last big thing you do is I ended up using my brother's staple gun to attach this all together, and this seemed like a good way to do it. I made the sides first, I made sure everything looked even, and then I ended up attaching the front and back boards, and then lastly I did the bottom. But do whatever you think works best. This way worked really well for me. And then finally, the very last thing I did was I went over areas that needed to be touched up with this stain and just completed them, and so it looked all finished and turned out so good. So you guys, that is it. You have my DIY crate and my DIY ladder. So I hope it gave you some ideas. I hope you try out some of these yourself and let me know in the comments how it went. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great week and stay tuned for my next video in the future. Bye.